Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Can You Hear Me? Can You Hear Me is an online event by Beyond the Box on the topic of mental health awareness and sensitization in children, with a focus on how literature and stories can play a crucial role in initiating these important conversations. Now, a lot of people ask me that why an event on mental health and emotional awareness on a platform like Beyond the Box, which is primarily about creative writing and literature. Well, to be very honest, I strongly feel that writing is so close to our emotions, right? I mean, I think a very important quality of a writer is to actually look inwards and be connected to one's own emotions. So I feel that it actually goes completely in sync with what we stand for. Also, at Beyond the Box, we believe in the holistic development of children, and I believe that conversations about their own mental health are extremely important. And definitely, stories play such an important role in having such conversations with them, because a lot of time parents tell me that we cannot just go and tell our kids that, okay, come today, let's talk about mental health. Of course, it doesn't work that way with kids most of the times. So, reading books on these kind of topics, I think, helps a lot. This is something that I have experienced not just as a creative writing mentor, but also as a parent with my 6-year-old daughter. So, today with me, right now, I'm going to be kickstarting this event with a very special person, author Vaishali Shroff. She is an amazing author, and I think a lot of you might have read her books. What I truly love about her books is the way she completely goes into the mind of the characters. I had discovered her books long back, but one particular book of her, which I read recently, The Boy in the Dark Hole, caught my attention, and it was an absolutely enriching experience for me to read that book along with my 6-year-old. So I would like to not waste any more time, and I want to get her on stream and learn a lot more about the book, her writing process, and how she just approaches the way she creates these characters, and also to understand what she feels as a parent about what all of us can do better as adults when it comes to raising children with a high emotional intelligence. So, getting Vaishali on stream. Hi, Vishali, and welcome to Beyond the Box. Vishali, I think you're on mute. If you could just unmute.
Sorry
Yeah.
about that. Thank you. Thank you
No
so
problem.
much for having me here, Anupama. And I applaud you for doing this event. Can you hear me? And because, like you said, talking about mental health is such a taboo, and
Yes.
and you, as you rightly said, we don't just say that, okay, let's talk about mental health. It's not like a conversation we have on a daily basis, but
Right.
yes, we definitely need to address it, considering the times we live in. And I feel it's the need of the hour. Whether it's between
Yes.
for a child or for an adult. I think we all need to have this conversation.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely. So, for the audience, I would like to introduce Vaishali. Vaishali Shroff is an award winning children's author and columnist. She likes to write stories about subjects that are challenging yet pertinent, such as mental health, touch without consent, and act as icebreakers to initiate difficult conversations. With over 200 published stories, her popular books include The Adventures of Padma and a Blue Dinosaur by HarperCollins India, which was the recipient of the 2019 Best in Indian Children's Writing BICW Award, Raindrops and Ari by Tulika Books, The Missing Bag by Pratham Books, The Strange Case of Nayantara by Mango Books, and The Boy in the Dark Hole by Eklavya. She's been invited as a speaker at literature festivals across the country. She lives in Mumbai with her husband and 2 sons, and nothing brings her greater joy than seeing her kids sprawled across the sofa, the bed, the floor, reading at all times of the day. I'm sure that makes for an absolutely exhilarating sight,
Oh,
Vaishali.
tell me about it.
Yeah.
It's
So, for the
just
audience who have
sometimes when
joined
I
us,
wake up and I wake up earliest at home, and I'm just walking out of my room or the kitchen, and I
right.
suddenly see the kids still in their pajamas, and the first thing that they have done before after opening their eyes is pick a book and sitting in a corner and just lost in their world. And it's just a very different, very warm feeling that you get.
I'm
Can't
sure.
describe. Yeah.
Absolutely, I'm sure. So, for the audience who are watching us, feel free to post your queries, comments, anything what you want to share about the event or whatever Vishali shares, and I'll take up questions if possible towards the end of the session as time permits. Also, there is a surprise for the viewers. The audience member who engages the maximum today in terms of reactions, comments, and shares will get a surprise prize from Beyond the Box. So yes, be very active today while watching this event. There is something special for you. Okay, Vaishali. So I just want to begin this discussion by talking about the book. So if you could just share with the audience what Boy in the Dark Hole is about.
Okay. So The Boy in the Dark Hole, here it is. It's a chapter book, but it's a chapter
I
book.
have it.
Thank you. Thank you for reading my book and doing this. So The Boy in the Dark Hole is a chapter book. I would say it's for 8 years and above, but I was really pleased when you said that you read it aloud to your 6-year-old. Because the earlier we start talking about these things, the better it is.
Right.
This book is about, I'll quickly tell you, it's about a 10-year-old kid called SP, who's the protagonist of the story. And he is riddled with all sorts of emotions. He keeps worrying about everything that's going on in his life, everything that makes him angry or frustrated. And he keeps wallowing in those feelings. And he gets so deep that he doesn't know how to come out of it.
Right.
He's a very sensitive child, and but he unfortunately doesn't know how to deal with his emotions. He has a couple of really nice friends, who are very, very kind to him and very nice to him, but they are not really aware of what he's going through, because SP has not been sharing his feelings with them until the end, when they discover what's going on, and then how his friends turn his life around and show him the other side of the dark hole. It's just pure magic. And I believe all of us would love to have that kind of magic in our life, to get us out of
Yes.
all the things that bog us down and burden us. So yes,
Yes.
The Boy in the Dark Hole.
Yeah. So everybody, please do check out this amazing book. And I am talking from experience because I've read the book, that it truly is a wonderful book. And even for the younger kids, like I shared my own experience that I have read it aloud to my 6-year-old. So it's not that, they cannot read it. If you explain certain things to them, like she got the whole concept very nicely. And in fact, I must tell you, Vaishali, after reading this book, she's been after me to, make that whole. Basically, she said that,
Wow.
like the character, even I want to make something interesting out of it. Like I don't want to reveal much about the story, but yeah, I know you got it.
Yeah.
So
No, it's like I said, character doesn't know how to deal with their feelings, and
yeah,
the way we can really do it is, put it on paper, and
yeah.
clear our thoughts out, and see what we can do about it. And yeah.
Very true, very true. One thing which I really wanted to know, Vaishali, is that the strength of this book, according to me, as a reader, is the way you've beautifully captured the emotions of SP. I think you truly went into his mind, and whatever the inner turmoil, the things he goes through, the way he thinks. There's this instant connection as a reader, which we feel with him. And it's like, that's why I feel that a reader immediately gets invested in the book, like from the word go. So I wanted to understand a bit about how you approached creating this character in such a way that the reader connects and kind of feels for his emotions from the beginning.
Okay. While this book has a very, no, it's not fantasy really, but it's a metaphor. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
it's a metaphor, but it is still grounded in a lot of reality. The
yeah.
characters are real, the feelings are real. So I had to ensure that I keep the character as real and as relatable as possible, because as a reader, my main idea behind writing this book was that uh, more and more readers, when they read the story, when they read about the character, when they think about the character, they probably can at least relate and identify with it. Maybe because
Yeah.
the problems that I have written about in this book could happen to anybody. So
Yes.
either it could be the same problem, or it could be a different problem, but there is a problem. The fact is that there is a problem, and here is this person who can't deal with it. And I think that's it's as humans, we all are dealing with that problem, of being unable to uh, you know uh, convert all these emotions that are bogging us down and burdening us through the lockdown. and doing something positive out of it. And I think so I had to ensure that I'm being very sensitive, because
Yes.
character, I could not, I had to study, I had to go back to my childhood, because a lot of this character is me. I used to be somebody who cannot share my feelings, and that is how I used to started writing at a very early age, because I found a lot of calm and peace in expressing myself through words. And that was my way of dealing with my emotions. And
Yes.
in this book, the character uh, expresses himself through art. He loves
Mm.
art. At the end of
Yes.
any bad day or a good day, he gets at his desk and he draws something, and which reflects his feelings. And I think what I've tried to show here is that the story is about getting kids to express themselves in whatever way they can, whether it is through words, whether it's through art, whether it's through conversations. But the idea is that we need to put ourselves out there in front of our
Yes.
loved ones and trusted ones, so that we see a different side of things. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
uh, a very relatable character was my goal, and I hope I've achieved that.
Yes, for sure, definitely. And it's like I always feel that mental health is, of course, a taboo subject in our society, though today we are talking about it, but the awareness is still quite low. And when it comes to children, I feel the situation is even more disappointing. Uh, because I've heard people say statements like, "Arey, like bacha hi to hai, they'll be fine," or even things like, they don't need to be spoken to about such topics because it will take away their innocence. I've even heard that from many people. That's the kind of mindset that the society harbors. So what made you feel so strongly about this particular subject that you chose to write the book, The Boy in the Dark Hole?
Anupama, when we are unwell, okay,
Hmm.
when we are unwell or physically unfit, it shows, okay, whether we have fever, whether we have cold, our body shows how what we are going through, and then
Yes.
accordingly we take measures to, get ourselves back to being physically fit and fine. And but the problem with having problems in the mind, or your mental health, in, is that it's not something that's visible, visible in the sense that you might be doing or going about all your normal activities, but no one will know what is going on inside your head.
Right.
And unless you actually sit to understand, which I'll come to it later maybe, about how you can how mental health can also have symptoms
Yes.
in
Yes.
children. But you have to come, sorry, can you please repeat your question?
No, what made you feel so strongly
Yes.
about this
So,
subject? Yeah.
so it was 6 years ago. I was reading a magazine. I think it was an Outlook
Okay.
magazine, and the cover story of that magazine was student suicides in our country. And
Okay. Okay.
this was between the age of 13 years and 30 years students. And according to that poll, and which was also recently done 2 years ago, there are on an average 25 students uh, end their lives every day. So, in this country, between the ages of 13 to 30, and of these 25 students, five are between the age of 13 and 18.
Oh, mm,
Okay, and I thought,
that's,
and I had a lump in my throat when I,
of
read
course.
this,
Yeah.
and I'm like, and I kept thinking that what must be driving these kids to, a point where they feel that its life is not worth living. and
Yes.
and before this book came out, I had another book out, um, called The Strange Case of Nayantara, which is about touch without consent, especially through family and known people. And at a literature festival last year, uh, when I had a parent come to me after a session, and telling me, she held my hand, and she told me, "I wish you wrote this book earlier." And because there was an untoward incident that happened in her family, and she's like, "I wish I had read this, or my daughter had read this book." And that is when I decided that, this thought about writing about mental health I already had after I read that story. And after this lady came to me, I said, "No, this is it. I need to write this story, like, right now." because I don't know how many people will read it or they will like it, but I think I just felt like it's my moral duty to write about it.
Right, right.
And even if it makes a difference in one child's life or one reader's life, I think I would consider that my purpose has been achieved of writing the story.
Right, right, right. I completely agree. And even that topic is truly so important.
Yeah.
There's a comment also which from our audience, which I would like to show. It's from Anisha Bajaj, who's the founder of Kidzalia. And she says that love the unconventional topics that you write and with so much ease. That I completely agree.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for saying that. And yeah, it really means a lot. It's trust me, but it's not easy to write about this
Yeah,
because it's really difficult because you have to consider so many aspects. Uh, but yeah, and that's the thing. You have to make, because it's not a topic that all children would love to read. Like my son loves to read fantasy and funny
right.
stories. These kind of books would be probably not the first things that they pick in a bookstore or a library. But
Yes.
I really need to make it, infuse it with humor and make it light enough for kids to get the message across while they are just breezing through the book. So I try to do that as far as I can.
Very true, very true. And I just wanted to understand a little bit about the way you research, Vaishali, because of course you did mention that it was important for you to approach the subject with sensitivity. And you also mentioned about how you went back to your childhood. So, is it that mostly you drew from the real life people or situations, or did you also have to do some like a technical research to ensure that you're portraying things in the right manner, or in a sensitive manner? So how did you go about that?
I think for me it was not very difficult to create the character, because, like I said, I draw a lot from my childhood.
Yeah.
I have over the last 11 years that I've been in the children's publishing industry. I've
Right,
interacted with
right.
a lot of children too, and studied the kind of issues they are facing. But yeah,
Right.
what I really needed to study and is small things like, you know how is the body language when a child is going through anxiety. Do they
Hmm.
crouch, do they slink, do they sweat, what kind of how do they react in certain situations. So I had to do a lot of reading up on how parents react to children, and
Yep.
how children behave under certain circumstances. And so, because I didn't want to, like I said, I wanted to create a world which is real, which is already existing,
Yes.
but in a way where everybody, when they read, they're like, yeah, this is exactly how it happens, at home, or this is exactly what I've been going through. So yes, I did a lot of research, and I have a very dear friend who is a child psychologist, who uses books as a medium to to deal with her patients who are
Oh,
children,
wow.
obviously. And she's wonderful, and I ran this, and there's one thing that I always wanted to do is run this book by her, and because her feedback was really valuable. So I've
Right.
had feedback from a leading child psychologist to vet that, okay, what I have written makes sense, and is the way it can
Right,
be.
right, right, right. And that's very important. I think that's actually helps when you also take feedback from those you trust with respect to their knowledge on the subject. I'm sure that must have been very
Because
valuable for you.
I'm no expert on this subject. I'm a
Yes,
writer,
yes, yes, yes.
and so this is very important for me to validate my work.
Yep, right, right, right. There's also a comment from Seema Ambi. She says, "You're touching the subjects which are mostly ignored in our society." That's so true. And we're really glad, and that was the whole idea of this event as well, because it's important for people to know about these books. I'm sure already a lot of readers have been reading your book, Vaishali, but the more the merrier, I feel. And yes, if today, even a few more kids, I think, if they order The Boy in the Dark Hole, I'm sure it's going to initiate such necessary conversations in so many homes. So now my next question to you, Vaishali, is actually on those lines, that which of course you also touched upon a bit earlier, is that what can we do as parents, as mentors, as aunts, uncles, basically every adult who interacts with a child in some capacity? What are the things, little things you feel that we can take care of to ensure that we are raising kids with high EQ, with them being comfortable of also expressing themselves with us? Because I think that also is normally a huge challenge for whatever reasons. Sometimes kids don't feel that comfortable enough to open up. So, what do you think we can do? You can talk from your experience as a parent as well, and also from what you have gathered while writing these books.
Okay, so when as a writer, I write about all the ideal things and all the things that a
Right.
child must do and a parent must do. But as a parent, it's tough.
Yes.
Writing something and actually experiencing being a parent. And I have a tween, okay, and who is going through hormone changes and a lot of periods of anxiety through this lockdown. And
Right.
and it's been tough for them as well as me, and it's very hard to behave in an ideal way. But I feel as a parent, the first thing that we need to do is make the child aware of their feelings and emotions, because like I said, children
Yes.
don't acknowledge the feelings. They just react. Okay, so sometimes it's okay to say that, say they're, let's take the most popular topic, of screen time. And and you
Yeah.
want to, it's been enough today, you've been here for hours, take a break. And they say, no, but my friends are there and I have to play this game right now. And you tell them that, yeah, I understand that I would also
Yes.
love to, be, but it's not right because of so and so reasons. Okay, so you tell them that, yes, you acknowledge and you understand their feelings, that I understand why you're feeling angry about something or frustrated about something or sad about something, but you know this is why you need to do this, or you need to let go of it, or because then it generally calms the kids down, when
Yeah.
there's some form of reasoning that you give them, that uh, you tell them there is a reason why you're saying no to something. If we reason it out and tell that, yes, I would exactly feel the same thing, like,
Yes. Yes.
losing a best friend to somebody else, and I'm like, oh god, I would have been totally shattered. But you got to move on. So when they know that somebody else also feels the same way, that a parent who agrees to my feelings, I think it helps. And the other thing is that you are also, while doing this, you are allowing a channel of communication. You're
Yeah.
in
Absolutely.
conversation, and you are telling them that, yes, I also need to share my feelings, like just like my mom did or my dad did. I also need to open up and talk about it. And I think this is like, and get together and find ways to solve the problem. Like, okay, fine, we are going through this. What can we do about this? We can't wallow over it all the time. What can we do about it? Is there something that we do? Why don't you give me some solutions? Why don't you give me a
Yeah.
couple of ways in which we can deal with this? And then we'll see, if it's doable or something. So I think there are ways. I think everybody's situation is very unique. Children are unique. Not what you can't have a cookie cut method for all children.
Right.
The parents know what works for their children best. But just these two things of you know just dealing with a little bit of empathy, and allowing, opening up some means by which they will start communicating with you, and giving you reasons for their tantrums, and
Yeah.
just talking about them. I think that will you know lead to uh, something that is positive. Like
Yes.
in the book, I don't offer solutions. That,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
you're
True.
dealing with anger. I'm not giving you a solution, because there is no one solution to deal with it.
Yes.
But the book
Absolutely.
shows you a way,
Yeah.
that
Absolutely. True.
this is the way to go, and then it's up to you how you go. But yes, it's my job is to show you the way.
Yeah.
That's all
Right.
I have done. And even if you
Right.
know that, as a parent also, I think we need to show them the way, and then they let them take over.
Yes, absolutely. I think that is something which I actually liked in the book. Like you said, there was no like a solution that, okay, now this is going to finally solve everything, but it is, yeah, just one of the ways in which the character, and that was actually something very, very relatable also, because in life, that's how it is, right? We cannot really find like a final solution to things. And there's a interesting comment from Archana. She says that, but they hate.
I know they do, but but you know what? What can we say? You know, it's that but
Right.
has is a huge part of our lives and theirs, and you know, but that statement before the but may calm them down. You know, and I do believe in taking deep breaths. I do believe in, you know, giving them, you know, if sometimes when they're angry or if there's an outburst, I suddenly just get a glass of water that you know, just drink some water and calm down. So they, because
Right,
I know
right.
that, you know, it slows you down. You know, it you start thinking clearly. So these are small things that even I have learned over a period of time. They sometimes work, they don't sometimes, but we got to try.
Right, right. I agree. I agree. Okay, Vaishali. So, last thoughts on this, and what would you like to tell the audience on your book, The Boy in the Dark Hole? Why should they be reading it, and what they can expect as a reader? I think we lost Vaishali there due to some network issue. Hoping she can join back. In the meanwhile, till Vaishali joins back, I want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors and partners for the event. Trendy Viva, an apparel brand, our event sponsor. Asta Homeo Clinic, our associate sponsor. Dopology, our promotion partner. Precious Pen, our associate partner. Wicked, the emotional wellness platform, our gifting sponsor. And Budding Star, our community partners. Yes, so Vaishali is back. Yeah.
I'm so sorry, my browser just vanished.
No, no, that's absolutely fine, Vaishali. No problem. Yeah. So we were just asking you about sharing with the audience that why they should read The Boy in the Dark Hole.
I feel, you know, I think you should read this book if you have, you know, a child having problem dealing with their emotions, and you should read this book even if you don't, in the sense that even if you have an emotionally strong child who says that, you know, I got this. You know, every time there is a problem, there are kids who are just built that way. You know, they just know they have a solution to everything, and these are the kids, we need these kids in our society to reach out to their friends who may not be you know, as able as them to deal with their
Yes.
feelings, and reach out to them and say that, hey, you know, I've noticed that you've not been speaking for some days, or you've just been, you know, you've not joined us for lunch. Is there a problem? What's going on? So, you know, sometimes just picking up the phone and instead of talking about, checking on them and saying that, you know, how have you been? You know, it's we've not met for months now, but you know, what have you been doing? So catching up, you know, and trying to check is something important, because when a child is going through a period of stress and trauma, you know, it's not very easy to come out of it and
Right.
start
Right.
having
Right.
conversations that, okay, you know, because we, like I said earlier, you know, we feeling sad, upset, depressed, these are all normal feelings, angry, and we all go through these feelings. But when you hold on to the feelings is when there is a problem. And
Right.
as what from my research, I have learned that if your child goes through such you know, shows symptoms for over 2 weeks, then there could be a clinical problem. So and parents, you know, could probably take it a little bit more seriously. You know, if they show lack of appetite, if they don't concentrate, if they do are slower in doing their normal activities, they are disinterested in everything, they don't stop social, they stop socializing with others. So you know, these are these are symptoms of a much bigger problem, which is inside our head, mind. And maybe you know, if you notice that happening for a prolonged period of time, it's always okay to consult a specialist, and or at least, you know, open up and start talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so true. And there is a wonderful endorsement to end the session with from author Ramendra Kumar, who says that The Boy in the Dark Hole is an amazing book on a very sensitive subject. It is a read for all ages.
Thank you
So
so
thank
much
you.
for being here and joining us.
Yeah, and yes, Soumya, it is for adults, trust me. So, yes, thank you so much, Vaishali, for such an enriching conversation. So, all of you, please do check out her book, The Boy in the Dark Hole, and it's available everywhere. So, yeah, just go and place your orders. And I'm sure do share the feedback also with us. We would love to take the feedback from the BTB audience to Vaishali. So, thank you once again, Vaishali, for taking out time and sharing your insights and inputs with us.
Pleasure's entirely mine, and I hope people do read this book and you know enjoy the bright and rainbow at the end of it, and
Right,
there's a
right.
rainbow at the end of every dark cloud.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Take care.
Yeah.